Namaste. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. Now, this is where we welcome women healers and spiritual leaders from all around the world to come and share their journeys and their experiences. And of course, we do them over warm cups and deep thoughts. Now, many of you have been loving our podcast episodes. Thank you so much for showing your love. And for those who are new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe so we can continue to share this love. Thank you. Namaste everyone, welcome back to Sipping on Stories podcast. Today we're diving into a conversation that's all about transformation, creativity, and breaking free from self-doubt. So if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or like you've meant for something bigger but you don't quite know how to step into it, so this episode is for you. I'm thrilled to have with me today Liz Sanders. She's a psychedelic artist, transformational coach, and all-round creative powerhouse. So Liz helped create visionaries and resilient rebels, so they carve their own unique paths into their purposeful play, holistic healing, and emotional wellness. So her own journey of overcoming childhood trauma, PTSD, and creative blocks has shaped her way, and she guides others into effortless flow and inspired actions. So with that, Liz, welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. First of all, tell us where you're joining us from today.
Hello. Yes, thank you for that intro. I am so excited to be here on Sipping on Stories. I am calling in from Los Angeles, California.
Awesome. Tell us what choice of beverage you've got for us today. It's just that because I loved your cup. Really loved your cup.
Yeah, this is my new favorite cup. Got beautiful butterflies and iridescent gold bits on it. I'm drinking some cacao. How about you?
Oh, awesome. I'm just having some hot water. So I thought it wouldn't be fair if I go for a second round of coffee. So I was like, nah, that's enough. It's some hot water. Awesome. All right. Again, thank you so much, for joining in today. I thought, Liz, we start off from just, you sharing your journey from overcoming childhood trauma and PTSD, to becoming a transformational coach and a psychedelic artist, is of course, deeply inspiring because I was really inspired with your story when we first met. So what was the turning point that shifted your pain into purpose?
Yeah, the truth is there has been very many different turning points over the journey. It hasn't been just like one moment where there was like, finally, I'm, rid of the trauma and I feel confident and fully expressed. So, in truth, there have been many moments, but I think that there was a lot of things really that happened that culminated around the year of 2020. And I know that a lot of other people have had big experiences that year because of something that unites us all across the world, which was, of course, the global pandemic. That situation kind of put me into a pressure cooker, and I was already starting to explore my past through a new lens, through the lens of trauma, right? Before about the end of 2019, I was kind of under the story of like, I knew that what had happened to me was very difficult, but it wasn't that bad, right? And so it was like I didn't let myself really see it as something that could impact me or should impact me for as long as it had. I didn't understand, right? And so understanding it as actual trauma helped me to begin to see it through a different lens. And that's really when I was able to begin to really turn a lot of the pain that happened to me during childhood, and really the painful moments, the painful memories that really were living inside my body and causing a lot of living out of fear, right? Feeling very contracted and making myself small in terms of like from a trauma perspective, it makes a lot of sense that if you have been in a traumatic situation, some kind of intense emotional situation, that you would make yourself small, right, in order to protect yourself. And so in both like real physical ways and figurative ways in terms of just dimming my light, right? I was
Mm,
making myself small because of these past wounds that I had experienced. And so again, that lens of trauma allowed me to begin to explore them in a new way, which I touched on a little bit about the body. I began to understand mental health more as living deeply in the body and not just in the mind. And so
mm,
learning about the mind body connection was a key learning point for me to really be able to process my pain and move it out of the body where it was stored so that I could expand my field, expand my confidence, and really take up a lot more space in the
mm,
world.
wow. Yeah, that was quite a roller coaster ride for you. And it's so interesting that I always kind of talk about this, is how everyone has like their own wake up call, and I think that point, you had yours, and to kind of lead you into what you're doing at this point. So I thought it was a great segue to get into, your art. Let's talk about your art, and especially the portals, and how they made waves into the SoCal festival scene. So if you can maybe elaborate what that festival means, or and so how does your creative process, serve as a tool for emotional healing, and what do you like hope people experience when they engage with your work?
Yeah, so yes. First, I'll give a little bit of background about this art installation that I created. It's called Portals, and it is it has been an evolution of the stages, right? And right now it's actually entering in like more of a final vision stage. I just recently finally built out the doorway, which this whole idea came to me through a meditation. I saw a doorway with my artwork being projected through it.
Mm,
And so I just finished the doorway for the final vision, but for the last few years, specifically last year, I took it to 4 different festival events and shared it as a little bit less of a less polished, finished product, if that makes sense. It's been in stages, right? And it for a while it has lived at it was like a PVC pipe with a sheet with my art projected over it because that was physically what I could create, both carry and build,
yeah.
right? But also because for a while I didn't even have the space to build out the doorway, right? I only had the space for this phase one kind of vision, a part of the vision, right? But anyways, yeah, so my collage art, which is dear to me, gets projected through this doorway, and it is a series of collages that started as a way to break through my own creative block.
Mm,
Back in 2019 is when I started the project, right? So this is the collages that I've made that are projected, and the art installation idea with portals, right, with the doorway, that didn't even come through until 2001. So it's been through many stages.
wow.
And they are just really fun. I called them collage doodles because basically I just wanted to sit and have fun and create abstract pieces, and they have really become a real portal into many aspects of my work and become used in many different ways. I most recently launched a workshop series that is a creative healing workshop
Mm,
called Know Thyself, the Art of Interpretation, where I use these collages and we sit together in a small, intimate group and we reflect upon what meaning we think the collage is. And because they are slightly more abstract, we get to observe both the similarities and the differences in the way that people are interpreting and seeing the world, which
mm,
is very, very powerful in terms
yeah,
of healing, right? There's a
right.
lot of layers to that, but
Mm,
that's just some examples of my work and how it affects people and
mm.
how I'm using it to help people get in tune with their inner world.
Yeah, it's so interesting. This takes me back to one of my experiences is I came across one of these artists who creates painting through her energy, through her, she's a healer as well. So she creates these paintings. She's an artist who lives in London. I forget her name now. It's been many, many years. But she creates mostly like fertility based images or paintings. And so what I, read is there was a woman who was having difficulties in conceiving. So when she actually bought this painting from this artist and she had it in her room, and she would wake up looking at this art every day, every morning. And then she, miraculously, of course, she conceived, she had a baby, and everything was well. And I feel like, what you were talking about is there is some energy that you put into it and you're absorbing that kind of energy, and that's how it works. So I think that's amazing. So I could totally relate to what you were saying then. And I thought sharing this little story of mine would maybe help our listeners connect a little bit more to that. Yeah, and it's just and I remember by just getting like a digital painting of her like just expressing femininity. So it was a beautiful painting. I was looking at it every day, and I just felt that it's so feminine. There's so much feminine energy in it, and you just feel it. You feel it. So I think
Mhm.
if you are more kind of sensitive to energy, you'll pick it up more, I guess. So
Definitely.
hmm,
Yeah. And I think what you bring up is really beautiful illustration too of the power of art. I think that, you know, art and beauty can sometimes get labeled as like, fluff or like not having like super effect, like a deep function, right, in our society other than being beautiful.
yeah,
But the truth is that when we look at beauty, we experience emotions such as awe and wonder. And that opens our energy field, opens our field of possibility. And so, just like the story you shared with this woman who wanted to conceive and she used art and she woke up every day and looked at it, I mean, that's because like she was focused on this positive thing, right? This
mm,
beautiful thing. And that helped like her to receive that desire of then conceiving some
yeah,
child, right?
yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. And I thought it would be great to kind of touch upon, psychedelics and what role they have played in your life in terms of personal growth. Um, so with, you know, and many creatives and, cycle breakers turn into psychedelics for expansion and self-discovery. And this has been known, and I have seen, had some experiences of my friends even kind of turning into that for self-discovery. So what role have psychedelics played in your own transformation? So, and how do you kind of insert this into your coaching practice?
Yeah, yeah. Psychedelics have been really, really important in my own evolution. I really see the experience that I had with them, and I will say that I most of my experiences come from, or a large amount of them, at least in the early days, come from my festival experiences. So not your typical more therapeutic setting or more guided setting for like a ceremony, right?
Mm,
That's more medicine based. It was a more party type of setting. So it's unusual that you can like just go to that and experience one of these things and then receive a lot of healing. It takes a lot of intention and it takes a lot of work in your life pre and post of the
mm,
experience. But yeah, these experiences were incredibly healing and like huge catalysts in my evolution. Some of my first ones were just really powerful in the ability to open me up to feelings that I had never felt before, like feelings of safety and love and like presence. Having grown up in a childhood environment that was chaotic and
mm,
didn't feel calm or centered, I actually had very little experience knowing what those things felt like, being feeling really safe, feeling safe to talk to friends and not suppress who you are, right? So a
Mm,
lot of those experiences were really deeply healing for me. And then beyond that, I have used it more intentionally now, more recently in the more past 5 years. I sit in ceremony with it, and I've used it really intentionally to use it for self-reflection, for
mm,
like where I want to take my life and what I want to do with my life and the reality that I want to create for my
yeah,
life.
yeah.
And then even more recently, I've been doing some microdosing, which is really, really powerful in terms of the creative process and the workflow in your like day-to-day, whatever you're creating, whether it be art or sometimes it's business, sometimes it's content, right? Like these psychedelics are multifaceted tools that are incredibly useful for our lives to um, evolve and change it into what we want.
Mm,
And so, yeah, in terms of the ways that that integrates into my work, my workshop I mentioned before is helpful for developing integration skills. So, skills of meaning making, creating meaning from experiences, because it's not just about taking the psychedelic, it's about what meaning are you creating from the experience.
yeah.
And then, yeah, my work is definitely going to expand deeper into psychedelics soon. I am working towards adding microdosing to some of my
Mm,
coaching packages. So that will
yeah.
be available by the end of the year.
Yeah, oh, that's amazing. And I would like to also call out, for our listeners and viewers that the intention is very important. So where you focus your energy, it's important how you focus it and what state you're in when you focus your energy. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from that. If anyone is, willing to try, maybe maybe they could do it with guidance, but highly suggest you do it with guidance, but it really is important that you do it with the right intention. Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
I definitely agree.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah, awesome. And with Liz, I want to, kind of touch upon how, you help the resilient rebels, forge their own path. So what is the biggest and inner and outer obstacles they face? So how do you guide them from self-doubt into, getting into the effortless flow?
Yeah, that's a big question. I don't know if I'll be able to go fully into all the layers of it, but if we talk about it, inner and outer obstacles, some outer obstacles are going to be that when you are someone who is paving their own path, people around you might not get what you're up to. They might not like be on board as much as like you would want them to be,
Yeah.
and being able to really have the longevity for yourself to then fight the internal battles of like self-doubt that might bring up, right? And to just go after your vision with, complete dedication. With, those things are going to come up, things like that, where it's like someone doesn't feel like they're supporting you, and then you get the self-doubt, right? Or even with like content creation, like it didn't seem like you got enough like likes or enough views or things like that. So then that internal self-doubt comes out. And so it's something that you come up to again and again on this journey of paving your unique path.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I am really there to support you to move through those blocks and any beliefs, any attachments to things that aren't going to serve you in knowing that you are like following this path and you are meant to do this and deeply rooted in your purpose.
yeah, that's beautiful. And this is, it's sad that it's important to have people around you that support you, but sometimes it's not the case, always. So I think it's a good message that you put out there that you need to believe in yourself and just stick at it, no matter what. Just, stay put, and you're gonna kind of, come above, the water, and you get where you need to. So just don't lose your focus, kind of a thing. So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners have gone through similar kind of experiences where they are kind of following the intuition no matter what, but there are a lot of people around who might be like, look, that's not right, I don't think that route's gonna work. So you're gonna have people come out like this, in your path. So I think they are the first people who actually come out in your path. But just probably knowing, when from your soul, I guess. So you need to just kind of keep at it. But you've also got, just especially for my listeners, you're not alone. So we have amazing people like Liz to help you out. So reach out and connect, even connect the community as well, who are in the same boat, to find encouragement and inspiration, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what my job is all about. And I know that so deeply as someone who is, I mean, I'm still pioneering and carving my path forward and figuring out like blending these worlds of creativity and healing. So it feels all very new and fresh, but I've been able to get there because of the support that I've had and the support
Mm.
systems that I pull in around me. And yeah, it can't always be our friends and family. Sometimes you need someone who has traversed the unknown and is like gonna be your cheerleader, and that's kind of where my work sits.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Awesome. And Liz, I want to just dive into the power of play and what is power of play, right? So you emphasize purposeful play as a key to unlocking creativity and transformation. So in a world that often, glorifies hustle and seriousness, so why is play so crucial? And how can people invite more of this into their lives?
Yeah, totally. I love to talk about play because it is so incredibly powerful. And I do think we live in a society that doesn't always see the value that it holds. And part of that is like the imbalance of all the seriousness and the professionalness and this masculine, more linear, more rigid way of thinking that like a westernized world lives in.
Yeah.
And so play really helps balance that out. Play is also like in terms of learning and helping people to learn, play is exactly the psychotechnology that we use. Like even as children, if you think about it, how do you learn? You learn by they create some kind of game for you to
Mm.
use letters and put them together into words. If you think about like animals in the wild, like when they're young and they're learning to like fight or to hunt, they will play do it with each other and it will help them learn. It really does,
Mm.
it facilitates learning basically. And so when we can infuse play into our life, we're able to learn new ways of being and thinking and just like moving outside of the box, being more creative, really.
Yeah.
And so it is so, so powerful to use in our daily lives and our lifestyle in terms of the way we approach like a habit or something instead of it being like a rigid, you're bad
Mm.
or good if you get it done, approaching it more playfully as an experiment that like you're doing. And with your creativity, like when you are approaching it with a more playful way instead of like, again, that good or bad lens,
Yeah.
then you are actually opening up your ability to make something that you wouldn't expect and to actually enjoy doing it, right? And that's really what creativity is about. So play is so, so powerful. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes so sense. I think that example that you talked about, when kids are in kindergarten and that's how they learn and that's how, things get registered, and even animals. So I think it's so crucial. And I often find that we, adults even complicate things and are so serious into things. And I definitely agree that there should be an element of play that's involved, as well. So that really brings out, I think, the creativity and the way, it's going to transform the whole narrative. I think the way you look at things is going to be so different. So, yeah, absolutely, awesome.
Totally.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. I was just gonna say too, I actually have, if anyone is interested in bringing more play into their life, as a collage artist, I love collage as a form of play. And so I have a free collage download that will help you tap into some creative play. And I'll share that link with you so that people can sign up and grab it. But collage is one of my favorite ways, obviously, to make art, but also it's a crucial medium to move through play in terms of creativity because it's more about assembling things rather than technique of like drawing or painting. It's more approachable. And
Yeah.
so it's a way that I love to offer people as an invitation to bring more play into their life.
Yeah, I think that's very beautiful also, Liz, because I strongly believe that creativity is, when we look at the older times, there was so much creativity flowing. You had poets, and it was a job. Like being a poet was a job. So you don't find that anymore. Even writers, like you don't hear about them a lot. So I guess that creativity is, another form of divine, and it comes from divine. And you need to express, and everyone is creative in their own way. You just need to find how you can express it. Either it is by dancing or composing music or singing, whatever. This is an art and so many things. So it's all divine. And I strongly believe in that. And no matter how busy you are in your lives, and if people can find some time to kind of let your creativity express in some way or the other, I think it's so blissful. Even today, because I love to draw, and I also, put like henna tattoos and henna art. So I love doing. It's not that I do it professionally, but I just do it on my hand, and just grab my sister's hand and like, give me a hand. I'm just gonna draw. It's just letting expressing yourself, and it's so beautiful. And I,
Mhm.
I can totally relate to that. Even, dancing, you always find time to do it. And I think I would really encourage my listeners to do, and I'm sure Liz, you would agree.
Oh, 100%. I would say that if you can find 15 minutes a day, which people will say is a lot, but it's not that much, like just to dance, just to do something creative, your
Yeah.
life satisfaction will increase a lot.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I think if I look back, when I was back in school, having an art class was mandatory, and I feel like that made so much impact growing up as well. So I think
Mhm.
I would really encourage people to get into some sort of art, really. And yeah, it's just not about getting, like maybe just focusing on work or just studying, and just get out and do something creative.
Certainly, yeah.
Awesome. And Liz, just as we're coming to the end of the podcast, I would of course love for you to mention if there are any books that you might recommend, your personal favorites, to our listeners, and also maybe give them a message, whatever you've maybe heard or read that resonates deeply with you, and you believe that this is maybe a message I should want to give out.
Yeah, totally. I think in terms of books, I think one of the biggest, most wonderful one for me is always Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. When you talk about creativity and connecting to your light and letting it shine bright, it's a really, really inspirational book about being an artist. I love it so much, and it was helpful for me early when I felt really blocked. It felt really inspirational. So definitely tune into that. She also has a podcast. It's really old, but she has like 2 seasons of a podcast you can
Oh,
listen to it about too. And then, yeah, I think in terms of a message to wrap it up is to just really listen to those. Um, Sparks of creativity, your intuitive pulls, and just follow them and follow your heart, and everything can unfold more magically than you'll ever believe.
yeah, awesome. That's so beautiful. Well, Liz, thank you so much. And I think that was very powerful. And it was a short and sweet, very powerful message, powerful episode. I just, wish our listeners can take a lot out of this, and maybe start implementing a few things that we've spoken today into their own lives to tap into their creativity and see what comes out. So again, Liz, thank you so much for coming on Sipping on Stories podcast. It was amazing having you.
Yes, thank you so much.